Hey. My name's Sierra and welcome back to my channel. And it's that time of year again where everybody puts together their what I read in 2024 video, and I'm no different because here I am sitting on my chair about to make a what I read in 2024 video. The only difference with my video is I'm not going to tell you everything that I read because I will talk for way too long. So instead, I'm doing my top 10 favorite books of 2024 because it limits me. And also, I don't want to talk about books that I didn't vibe with, and there were definitely a few that I didn't vibe with this year. So we get to cut those out of the equation and just talk about the books that I loved. By the way, I just want to preface, none of these books are in order. There's not a ranking system. These are just my top 10 faves. And I'm also not going to put it in the order that I read them. If you are interested in knowing everything that I've read, what order I read them in, and the ranking that I gave them, my Goodreads and my Storygraph account are linked in the description. So go check those out if you want to know all the details. But I picked my top 10 and I'm just gonna go with whatever I grab, basically. And that happens to be one of the most recent books that I think I read, and that is Lovelight by B.K. Borison. I've never read this author before, but I picked this up because I was in a bit of a reading slump, to be completely honest, and all I wanted to read was a Christmassy book. And though this isn't necessarily Christmas, it's more wintry, it gives the vibe of Christmas, and they mention Christmas a lot. So this book is about Stella, who owns a Christmas tree farm, and she's having a little bit of a financial crisis. She needs more business, and so she applies to basically get this influencer to come and visit her Christmas tree farm and review it and post about it, and basically just get new people to discover the Christmas tree farm. And on that application that she sends to this influencer, she says that she owns the Christmas tree farm with her boyfriend. Here's the thing, Stella, she don't have a boyfriend. She does not have a boyfriend, but she does have a best friend named Luca, who has been her best friend for a very, very long time. And she ends up recruiting him to play the part of her boyfriend. And so yeah, it's a little bit of fake dating. It's a friends to lovers, and it's Christmassy. What could go wrong? This book was everything that I needed it to be. As I said, I was looking for something Christmassy. I needed something lighthearted to get me out of my reading slump, and this was it. And one thing about me is I will always eat up a friends to lovers romance. Ugh. I know that some people really hate it and think it's unrealistic, but I love a good friends to lovers romance, so obviously right up my alley. The next two books I'm going to be talking about are from the same series. It's from the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. This series is one of my all-time favorite series, specifically that's non-fantasy. I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of favorite fantasy books, but I don't have a lot of favorite romance books because I feel like they all start to merge together, but oh my god. I wouldn't even consider these romance per se. All of them have a romance story in them, but I feel like they're just so much more than a romance. And so I picked out my two favorite that I read this year, and that was Keeping 13 and Redeeming 6. Okay, where do I even start about what this book series is about? I'm gonna give you a general idea. The Boys of Tommen series is centered around Shannon's family, who she is a child of, I don't know, 5? 6? She's a child of 6. So it's centered around her family that we just discovered. She's a child of 5. Yeah, you heard me correctly. I said 5. I did all that math to realize that she was a child of 6, just to go on to say that she's a child of 5. It's like those past 5 seconds didn't happen. Anyways, sorry. And also her friend group at Tommen College, which is the school that they go to. This is also takes place in Ireland, let me just mention, because names like Aoife, Tig, and the fact that their school is called Tommen College when they're 16. For all the Americans out there, this takes place in Ireland. Each book has a different love story. Well, the first two are Johnny and Shannon, the second two are Joey and Aoife, and then there's a third book, or it's not, okay, wait, let me back up. Okay, let's try this again. First two books, Johnny and Shannon. Third and fourth book, Joey and Aoife. Fifth book, Gibbsy and Claire. But to focus on these, it like centers around her friend group at Tommen College and also her family. So Joey is her older brother, so that's why he has a book. Hey, I'm back because I did such a terrible job at describing this book series. So sorry about that. To summarize everything, it's about Shannon, her family, and her friends at Tommen College. And the series kind of follows like different point of views, as I said, like different characters get different books, and it's still ongoing, so we're gonna get more characters soon. I think what I struggled with in describing the series is the fact that I picked the second and fourth book to include in this video because those were my favorites out of the series. But I obviously didn't want to spoil anything and talk about those books specifically, so therefore I just didn't really say anything at all. So instead, what I'm going to tell you is the enticing incident, I guess, of the first book to hopefully give you some idea about what this series is about. As I said before, the first two books are about Shannon and Johnny, and so the first book is set up by Shannon switching schools because she originally started out going to a public school that her whole family goes to, but she was getting so severely bullied that she had to transfer over to Tommen College, which is a private school, a very expensive private school. And on her first day at Tommen College, she gets in a little kerfuffle with the head rugby player, Johnny Kavanagh. Superstar Johnny Kavanagh. She basically walks across the rugby pitch while they're practicing and then gets hit head on by a rugby ball and causes her to pass out. And that kind of just sets up the story. That's how they meet, and it goes forward. Shannon doesn't have that great of a home life. And yeah, I still didn't do a good job. I'm so sorry. Go read a summary or something because I just can't give it justice. Anyways, back to the video. And this series deals with a lot of really dark topics, so if you are worried about any of that, please check the trigger warnings. But if you don't have any problems with those warnings or any of those topics, please read this series. This is one of my favorite series of all time. These characters are not only characters, they're my friends, they're my family. I'm literally so attached and I cannot wait for more in this series. But yeah, I don't really know what else to explain. It's just kind of about their life and their friendship and their relationships and their love stories and all of that, and it's perfection. So these are two of my top 10 favorites of 2024. Oh my god. Okay, let me explain something. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I love the movies, but it took me a very, very long time to get through the book series, and I just happened to finish it this year. So, one of the books that I'm including in my top 10 is The Half-Blood Prince. This is my favorite book of the series, which is so strange because Half-Blood Prince is my least favorite movie, which I could make a whole separate video of why that's my least favorite. Not to say that I dislike it, but the book, oh my god, they could have... That movie would have been so superior if they had included the things that I love in this book. The reason why I love this book so much is because of the teenage angst. Oh my god, I ate it all up and left no crumbs. It was so good. The tension between Ginny and Harry, the sibling arguments and rivalry between Ginny and Ron. Oh my god, I have an older brother, so I get it. I get it, and I was feeling it, and just everything about this book that I loved, as I said, was not in the movie, and I'm so disappointed by it because this book is so good. I love it so much, and I obviously had to include it in my 2024 favorites roundup. So yeah, Half-Blood Prince, guys. Once again, the next two books are a part of the series. I read the Throne of Glass series this year, and I picked out my two favorite of that entire book series because obviously it's very, very long and I can't go on about that entire series for this video, so I picked out my two favorites, and that is Queen of Shadows and Kingdom of Ash. Again, I can't really talk about these books individually because I don't want to spoil anything, but it is a fantasy series. It's very, very famous. It's by Sarah J. Maas. Obviously, people love ACOTAR. This is one of her first series, and it's so freaking good. But I don't even know really how to explain it, and I read Throne of Glass so long ago. So it's about Selena. She was imprisoned for I think like about like, I don't even know, a year. Yeah, I think it was more than a year. I don't remember the details, but she was imprisoned and she is basically recruited to be a part of this challenge at the palace in the kingdom that she lives in. And she is to participate in like very, very life-threatening situations, I guess. It's kind of Hunger Games-esque in that way, but not. Like, it's not the Hunger Games, but that's the best way that I can describe it. But she's put to these challenges to basically gain her freedom. Whoever wins ends up being the king's hand, I think is the correct term. And basically that would mean that she would gain her freedom again. So she participates in those challenges, but this series goes so much beyond that. So I can't even like, I don't know how to explain this series. It's just so good. Pick it up. You will not regret it. It is very, very long. Like, these are 2 out of the 8 books. So it's very, very long. This one's a brick. This one's also kind of a brick, and there's like more brick books in this series, but it's so worth it. But yeah, definitely worth a read. These are my 2 favorites. Another series that I finished this year was The Hunger Games, because I read Mockingjay, and I had to include it in this video. I read the first 2 books in 2023, which is why they are not included in this. But I didn't move on to reading Mockingjay just because I was scared. I'm gonna be so honest. I was scared because obviously I've seen the film, so I know what's gonna happen. And I didn't want to read about Peeta's predicament. I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm just gonna shelf this one for now, and I'll come back to it. And I came back to it and I loved it. Oh my God, it was so good. And I just don't even, again, I don't know what to say. I'm so bad at this video. I just don't know what to say. These books make me speechless. I don't think I need to explain what The Hunger Games is about, because if you don't know, you've been living under a rock. So I'm just gonna move straight along, but just know this is a part of the top 10. It needs to be known. And if you haven't read the Hunger Games books but seen the films, go read the books, because I made your mistake and I regret it. I should have read these years and years ago, and I'm not even done. I still have Songbirds and Snakes to read, and now there's another one coming out. So we're in it for the long haul, guys. Ooh, okay. I know I said that I wasn't ranking them, but the next 3 are probably like, I want to say that they're my top 3 favorites of the year, but I just remember them so fondly because I read them in the summer, and that was the perfect time to read these books. And so to start off with the summer vibe, I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This was my first ever Abby Jimenez book, and I know that's like probably really shocking because she's so well known, specifically in the book talk space, but I just had never picked up one of her books. And so I picked up this one because I heard Steph Bohr like raving about it, and I was like, oh, let me read it. It's summer. It's called Just for Summer. It's gonna be the perfect vibe. And it was. This book was so good. Justin in this book series, or not book series, but book, is the blueprint. He's the blueprint for any future boyfriend that I may have. So Just for the Summer is about Emma and Justin, who basically meet off of a Reddit forum because Justin posts he posts something on Reddit where he basically is explaining how every person that he dates then goes on to meet the love of their life next. So they date him, and then they break up, and then they meet the love of their life. And it just so happens that Emma has the same predicament. They basically start messaging, and they're like, oh, we should meet up and like date, so then when we break up, the next person we meet is gonna be the love of our life. And that's how it begins. If you are looking for a summery read, I definitely recommend Just for the Summer. Exactly. Exactly. And then on the same note of summery books, I read This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I'm a big Carly Fortune fan. I love Every Summer After. I have it back there in my like little cubby right there. That's my like faves. And Meet Me at the Lake. They're in 2 different parts because My middle shelf is for the absolute favorites. And I'm sorry, Meet Me at the Lake did not make the cut. But this one did. This summer will be different. It's about Lucy, who has a best friend who is getting married, but right before her wedding, she runs away. She runs away to her hometown in Prince Edward Island, and she won't tell anyone why. Her best friend invites her to Prince Edward Island to spend time with her, even though she will not tell her what's going on and why she ran away right before her wedding. And who also happens to be there is her best friend's brother, Felix. Haha, best friend's brother trope. Are you surprised? No, it's so good. It hits every time. Lucy and Felix have a history. They have met many, many times before, and many, many times have they then been involved. But it's never worked out until this summer. Something changes, and that's all I'm gonna tell you. You have to go read it. It's so good. This summer will be different. Just had that perfect vibe that I wanted again for summer, just for the summer. Except this one was even better because it was on Prince Edward Island, so it also made a bunch of references to Anne of Green Gables. I love Anne with an E. I haven't read Anne of Green Gables yet. Please don't hate me. I'm getting there. Anyways, but I love Anne with an E. So it was really fun to like see the references. I also love a good like past versus present point of view, and this has that. It had that in Every Summer After, and it had that Meet Me at the Lake. So obviously Carly Fortune is a big fan of past and present point of view, and I'll eat it up every single time. Again, go pick up this book. We're on to the final book that I'm going to be talking about in this video, and that is What Happens After Midnight by K.L. Walther. Again, this is another author that I have read most of the books that they have out. I read The Summer of Broken Rules, which is in my little top faves bookshelf, and Maybe Meant to Be, which also again did not make the cut, but this one did make the cut. This book had the essence of The Summer of Broken Rules, so I think that's why I love this one more than Maybe Meant to Be. And this book is about Lily, who is in her senior year at her school, and her school is known for doing these very elaborate pranks at the end of the year, and they basically select someone to be a jester, and that person is supposed to plan and make the prank happen. The jester then also recruits a crew to help them. The court, I think. I'm not good at remembering small details. The jester appoints a court to help him plan and set up the prank. And Lily just so happens to be a part of that crew, and the jester just so happens to be someone from her past. I'm a sucker for a good teen romance. I'm sorry. I know that I'm not a teenager anymore, but I will live vicariously through these characters because I didn't have a teen romance. So while reading this book, I could visualize it so perfectly, which is I think one of the reasons why I loved it so much. I could see everything happening. I could visualize the characters. I could visualize the circumstances and what they were doing. It was like I was watching a movie. And I said in my Goodreads review, it's like a letterbox review for me. I don't take it seriously. I just write like a one-sentence description of what I'm feeling. And I wrote that I would love to make this into a limited TV series someday if somebody doesn't beat me to it. Just because, like, I don't know, I just really connected with these characters. I loved Lily. I loved Tag, who is the guy, her love interest in this books. I keep trying to say book series. It's not a book series, it's just one book. I loved all the characters, and I loved the premise of it. I loved the little like lighthearted gaminess of it all. And I think it would make such a good limited TV series. Like, it doesn't need to be anything more, but I think it needs to be more than a movie. So mark my words, I will be making this into a limited TV series someday. Alrighty, I think that is all the books I'm going to talk about. That was my top 10 favorite books of 2024. I would love to know down in the comments below what your favorite books of 2024 were. And if you read any of these books, please let me know what you thought of them. I love talking books with people. And if you are interested in knowing what I plan on reading in 2025, stay tuned because I am planning on doing a TBR video. So hit the subscribe button to stay connected and keep up to date with what I'm posting, and yeah, as I said at the beginning of the video, my Goodreads and my Storygraph are linked in the description if you want to follow me there. And I don't know what else to say, so I guess I'm gonna sign off now and stop talking. So anyways, I love you all so much, and I will see you guys all in the next video.